Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the Home Weather Office on this Monday morning, now the 18th day of August, 2025, and this is the morning briefing. As I look out the window from the Home Weather Office, it's another nice morning. It's borderline cool here at the Home Weather Office, and there is an onshore breeze, meaning we're going to have another comfortable day today. It still looks as though the end of the week will get warmer, with perhaps some days at or above 100 degrees. We'll see how that is going to work out. I'll show you all of that here in just a second. Of course, though, one big thing that's making all sorts of weather headlines, some of them true and some of them not, is Hurricane Erin. So let me just touch on that and a couple of things about that first off. So here is the latest satellite. Sure looks pretty out here. Here is the eye wall. I'll show you the stats on it in just a second. But one of the things I want to point out here is where it is and where it isn't. So here's where the eye is, and here are the Bahamas, and here is Cuba, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, right in here. I did hear a couple of people over the weekend saying that the hurricane is in the Caribbean. It is not in the Caribbean. It is actually still here in the Atlantic Ocean. The Caribbean is bordered here. So if you're south of Puerto Rico, you are on the south side of Puerto Rico, that's on the Caribbean. On the north side, that's the Atlantic. Also, the Bahamas. The Bahamas are not in the Caribbean. That is also in the Atlantic Ocean. So if you're hearing somebody saying, oh yes, Hurricane Erin is in the Caribbean, that is incorrect. Just a little geography lesson for you there. And yeah, a lot of people do think the Bahamas are in the Caribbean. They are not. That string of islands is still in the Atlantic. So again, the border for the Atlantic versus the Caribbean is, so the north side of Cuba is technically in the Atlantic. The south side is in the Caribbean. There you go. So anyway, nice looking hurricane here. Rather big. Producing rain in parts of Hispaniola, as well as certainly a lot of rain here in the Bahamas. Let's take a look and see what's happening here from the National Hurricane Center as I'm recording this at 8 o'clock in the morning. The stats, 140 miles an hour, moving north-northwest at 10 miles an hour. And as you can see, the path is going to the north. I saw a lot of excited weather people looking at satellite images over the weekend. Anytime that the track would veer as the eye will wobble from time to time. With every little wobble, there would be a post saying, oh, the track's wrong, it's coming to the United States. No. Wobbles are quite common, and we are seeing a steady turn to the north. And while there will be an impact to areas along the coast, like out here toward Cape Hatteras, in terms of waves, this will have no impact on the United States. And if you look at this storm, this is actually the perfect kind of hurricane that you want. It was a Category 5 for a while over the weekend, and it will continue to vary in intensity from 3 to 5 over the next couple of days, and which is the M's that you see here. And then when it turns to H, that means it's down to Category 2, as it will be weakening into Thursday and beyond. But when you think about what a hurricane is doing, a hurricane, this is your perfect sort of hurricane because it's a Category 5, or was for a while, which means that it is taking energy from the equatorial Pacific, the warm waters of equatorial Atlantic, I should say. So it's taking warm waters from the tropical areas and transporting that energy north. That's the sole purpose, if you will, of what hurricanes do. They help to keep the earth in balance in a rather extreme way, but the hurricanes are transporting energy, as in heat, from tropical areas to the north. And you can see that rather dramatically as it's happening here. But again, when it reaches Category 5, that means that's a lot of energy. And since this isn't going to make any landfall, it's the perfect kind of Category 5 storm that you want. So it's doing the job of dissipating a lot of the energy from the warm waters of the tropics and transporting it to the north without really impacting any land areas, which is great. Anyway, it's just a lot about hurricanes, and that's what's been filling my weather social media feed over the weekend. Northern California looks great in a lot of ways. We have a little bit of marine layer, but not a lot. As you can see, even areas like Carmel and Monterey are fog-free this morning. Something else I'll point out, Gifford Fire. Boy, those control burns that they did over the course of the at the end of last week really did a job on this thing, and this thing is really tamped down now. And as you can see, even in the northern part of the state, there are fires burning, but they're kind of more smoldering than burning. So here we are in mid-August, soon to be in late August, and we have good air quality. We don't have any big fires burning, so we're in really good shape. And we also have a bit of cloudiness still going through the northwest. There's cloud cover here, and as you can see, look at that motion, and that means that we are going to continue to see some cooler than average temperatures. I'll get back to the 500 millibar flow here in just a second, what's going to happen. But here's how it looks. So we still have this deep low here, and we have the southwesterly flow, so that's what we're seeing here. You can see how the clouds are moving in that direction, and it's all part of this cool air that's around, and that'll help to keep temperatures down over the next couple of days. So let's talk a little bit about the temperatures that we have seen, and so far so good for this month. Yes, we had that one little heat wave at Executive Airport in Sacramento, 101, 102, 101. Still, here we are on the 18th day of August, and the warmest day we've seen so far this summer is 102. We did that in May. We did that in July, I think. And then, yeah, so 102. Around here, we can have summers, we're counting days over 105, and, we're not doing any of that. So this is really good. And over the course of the last few days, let's see, we did 89, 85, 89, 95. That was Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday were 86 and 82. And today will also be in the 80s in Sacramento, which is nice. And days over 90, we've had 11 of them, 11 out of 17. But all in all, we're doing pretty well. What I've got here is a chart for days over 90. And I've put it into, in the month of August, and I put it into the least to the most. So back in 2010, throughout the entire month, we had 13 days. And, a lot of people have been talking to me, about it, just how weird this summer is in their mind. Well, just as recently as 2010, we had a summer similar to this. We only had 63 days that year that with for a total over 90 degrees. In August, in the teens, right? So right now we're at 11, and we'll get probably somewhere into this 17, 18 range, depending on the way the next couple of weeks go. So we will add, obviously, to the total. It'll be, probably in 18, 19 days. But all in all, we are doing quite well this year in terms of number of days over 90. We've talked about the days over 100 and how we haven't seen very many of those. But also, even days over 90, we've had a lot of days with highs in the 80s, which is really, really nice. Very comfortable, save on the AC bill, nice to work outdoors, nice to exercise outdoors, all that kind of stuff. So how's that going to change? This is the 6Z run of the GFS. We still have little waves coming through the overall trough, but as you can see, here is the big ridge, the Four Corners High, helping to feed the monsoon into Arizona. This is a typical summer pattern for us, and this holds through Tuesday, and on Wednesday begins to break down. You can see the big low out here in the Pacific isn't there anymore. We have one out here, and we have one here. So there's kind of a weak ridge starting to build, and that means Wednesday will be a warmer day. And then it does look as though Thursday, Friday may get up to 100 degrees or so. What day we have to now? So this is Friday night, Saturday. One thing we'll have to keep in mind is aloft here at 18,000 feet at 500, we do have more of this southerly flow. That doesn't mean we're going to have southerly onshore flow at the surface. But what we could see is, have to see if we get any moisture entrained into that, because as you can see, the monsoon flow could be coming straight our way. So we'll have to see if we get any cloud cover into that. The high more or less sticks around, but it's still not as dominant as it could be. But this isn't a pattern where we'll see daytime highs in the 80s. And then we get out toward the 27th, and we have a big high. So did I go past the 27th? I did go past the 27th. I was looking at this. Yeah, this right here would be just a flat out hot pattern on the 27th. But that's, 9-10 days out. So we'll see how this actually may play out. So even though we are now into the middle part of August, we still have, well, let's call it another month, because by the time we get to mid-September, yes, we can see 100 degrees from mid-September into early October, but those are baby 100s. We can even have an overnight low of 58 and go to 100 in late September. So those are kind of baby 100s, not the really kind of oppressive heat. So really, we're only down to maybe another 3, maybe 4 weeks with the possibility of having, oppressive heat, 105s, 108s, that sort of thing. So yeah, so far so good. And like I said, today is looking really nice. Tomorrow's nice. Wednesday will be warmer, but likely under 100 degrees. And then we'll have to see just exactly where the numbers are going to play out for Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, with temperatures getting back up to around 100 degrees or so. But like I said, today, just kind of a continuation of what we had over the weekend. Another beautiful day. So if you can, get out and enjoy it. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.